backyard birds and blooms, and squirrels. When the bell went missing, the best way to view my bird feeding station is through the window. This is the cardinal feeding at the Brome Squirrel Buster feeder. It's called a squirrel buster because it busts the squirrels. They can't get at the bird seed. The squirrels are too heavy. When they step onto those silver perches to reach the food, the outer shell of the feeder, called a shroud, comes down over the holes and shuts off the food. They're busted, but they learned how to get that seed bell off its hook. First, the house sparrows found it and loved it. They feasted on it. But still earlier, before my building's outdoor renovation project started, back when my feeding station was on my patio, Mr. and Mrs. Downy Woodpecker took turns on the seed bell. They liked the Squirrel Buster feeder and the Finch feeder. So did the chickadees and house sparrows. Let me introduce Mr. and Mrs. Sparrow so this story makes more sense. Later we'll meet a variety of squirrels. The house sparrow is also known as the English sparrow. This is the male. Note his black bib, his grey crown, and the chestnut sides of the head. This is the female. Note the plain head, throat, and chest. A pale eye strip adorns her face. The sparrows were pecking away at the edges of the seed bell. The male downy waits his turn. Another day. Mr. Sparrow starts with the seed bell, picking out a seed here, picking one out there. Mrs. Sparrow at the Squirrel Buster feeder for a snack. Mr. Sparrow is still up there on the seed bell. He's waiting for someone. Where is she? A drink, then back to the bell. He perks up. She's coming. What follows is, I think, what they call the mating dance. Mating dance of the house sparrow. Are they kissing? Feeding each other? These two may have been together for years, but the mating dance is part of the breeding ritual. At first I thought they were fighting, but I'm going to slow this down. Maybe we can see what they're doing. Some very interesting behaviors. Can you tell what's going on? I'm not sure myself. Are they feeding each other? I think it looks friendly. Just to clarify, the one on the far side of the bell is the male. The female is on this side with her back turned to the camera. As I watch them moving back and forth, I get the impression that she's the one who is leading this dance. For example, she leans further across the bell, and at the end she sits back, looks away, so he copies her, and then she starts pecking at the seed bell, so he flies away. Those things make me think that she is leading the dance, but I am not a trained ornithologist, so I could be wrong. Now he's playing peekaboo and she's eating on the bell. This seed bell grew smaller and smaller, and one day I got a new one to replace it. Thieves in the garden, the missing bell. But when I checked to see how big a bell still remained, it was gone. Only the hook remained. Assuming somebody from the street had picked it up and to feed it their birds, I moved it down closer to the ground. The next day it was gone too. A whole new bell was gone. I did not believe a human had crawled back in there to steal my bell. It must be the squirrels. This mess on the ground was a brand new bird seed bell from the store just yesterday. I'm buying no more bird seed bells until I can put them out of reach of the squirrels. In the meantime, I'm having fun watching the squirrels eat, getting as close to them as I can. Meet the squirrels. We have so many different kinds of squirrels. Eastern gray squirrel, many different colors, and the American red squirrel. This will attract them all so I can see them just outside my window. These are two different American red squirrels. They are much smaller than the gray squirrels. Not all American red squirrels are equally red. Some are more brown. How much bigger is the gray squirrel than the red squirrel? As you can see, this photo is a composite. However, in my observation, the two images of squirrels compare the same as they do in other photos, measured by fence boards and fence posts. In other words, the fence boards and posts serve as a standard measurement because all the squirrels sit, walk, and run along the same fence, and I get photographs. I show with the lines how they compare in size. These lines are exactly the same length on my ruler. They show how much bigger the gray squirrel is than the red squirrel. The gray squirrel can sit in that space, while the much smaller red squirrel can run in that space with the body outstretched. Given that the gray squirrels are so much bigger than the red squirrels, I figured it was the gray squirrels who knocked down that bell. This baby red squirrel just happened to find the food. It's so cute, I'm glad it did. After a bit, it learned that I wasn't going to hurt it. My foot is within 2 feet of this little squirrel. I'm looking straight down on top of it, and it's not afraid. The gray squirrels also came to eat. And a few days later, when they had cleaned up all the mess, they came back for more. The finch feeder is not called Squirrel Buster, but when I was buying it, the clerk helped me find a feeder that the squirrels could not get the food. That metal mesh goes all the way from the top to the bottom. There is no hole. Some of the finch feeders had a little hole at the bottom, and the clerk explained to me that the squirrels can put their mouth to it and get the food out. This one does not. Now I am glad I got this one. On its way down, the squirrel glances at the green Squirrel Buster feeder, at the yellow finch feeder. Goes on because it can't get the food. So there's no food, they'll just make the best of it, have a little bit fun in the flowers. And the sparrows still visit even though the bell is gone. This is 2 male sparrows. The ladies must be on their nests somewhere. So life goes on. That was May the 16th to 18th. There's an update several days later. The gray squirrels still come looking for food. In fact, it's about a week later. There's 2 squirrels. They both try the exact same method. I'm not running the same video twice. Let's see if we can get food today. There's food. You can see it and smell it, but you cannot get it. You're hungry and cold and wet, and the rain is getting in your eyes. You can't even see. We're having an all-day rain, and the rain keeps getting into their eyes. So they have to deal with that. Miserable rainwater in my eyes. Clean the water off their faces. A squirrel's life must be a miserable life. I'm probably the only human for miles around cruel enough to use Squirrel Buster feeders. But my landlord of the time was very strict about not feeding the squirrels, so I got the Squirrel Buster feeders. Now he's gone and the squirrels are still here. The squirrels still want to eat. It's for a reason humans talk about a tree of life. Trees always provide. Were it not for the trees, we'd all die. I feel so much better now. Thanks for watching. See you next time.